So we're here at Slinging Birdies live State of the Golf Union address. This is the time that we tell everybody what's going on in the golf world. We just had the NGF report a couple weeks ago, and we're going to kind of sell the news to the populace, the people who want to know. Because you got to tell the people what the NGF finds, because most people don't know about the golf census. And I'm going to give it to them straight.
Thanks again for being here. I do want to introduce Mike Deutsch. He's a golf writer, and also he has a YouTube channel which is called
Slinging Birdies.
Slinging Birdies. So here is Mike Deutsch.
Hello, hello. How's everybody feeling tonight? Good to hear. Okay, I am the star of the Slinging Birdies YouTube channel. If you go to youtube.com, you type in Slinging, then Birdies, you can join the Columbia Mishpocha who have joined Slinging Birdies fan club. Okay, I'm here for a State of Golf address. It's a really great time in golf right now in 2019. The British Open just teed off, and we got lots of great stuff happening. We've had more fandom this year in golf than we've had in like 20 years, and it's really good to see. To the of-age adults in the crowd, remember, the more you drink, the more erudite, the more intellectual, the more wit-filled, and the more dreamy my words will sound. So please drink up. Also, the higher the ABV level of your beverages, the better. Okay, so a lot of people around town know me for my golf video evangelism work, and I also write for Forbes.com. It's slightly different than the magazine, but it's more popular. But in addition to all that, I'm also a scratch slam golf poet. And what that means is I kind of rhyme a lot. And I wrote a new poem just this morning, and I'm going to read it to you. It's called The Name's BK, Now Get Out of the Way. Now I got to get into character. Okay, I'm now Brooks Koepka, the #1 golfer in the world, so just kind of use your imagination. We don't look too different, actually. I got 4 major victories and an SP2 claret jug. I'm on a mission to kiss you. Kissing the claret jug is one of the bucket lists of every single professional golfer. That's the one thing they want to do, is kiss the claret jug. You'll hear some people call it the claret jug, but it's not French at all. It's claret. So don't mispronounce it if you are looking at it. I got MVP blood coursing through these biceps. This is my bicep. Brooks Koepka's bicep is about 1 to 2 difference to mine, so if you want to understand how big his arms are. My bloodline goes down to Dick Rote. My great uncle was 3rd overall pick in the 1952 NBA draft. Does anybody remember 1952? Good, good, good. Dick Rote was really good. He was kind of the Bo Jackson of his time. He played basketball for Duke. He was the player of the year there, and then he went on to play for the Pittsburgh Pirates and a few other baseball teams. 2-time World Series winner, great shortstop, and he was an NL MVP too, so that's the kind of DNA that goes a long way in explaining the 122 mile per hour swing speed that Brooks Koepka has, which is quite phenomenal. Mere mortals like myself can only swing about 95 miles per hour, so to get to 122 is next level. He's also got piercing ball flight that whizzes and whooshes through the air that is really beautiful to watch, and why the galleries around Brooks Koepka are so large, because it's a magnificent sight to behold. If he was at Fenway Park, Brooks Koepka, and he had just one arm tied behind his back like this, and he was just using his left arm, and he had a 56-degree wedge, which is a very low end club. It goes the least furthest for most people. It's what you use in a sand trap. He could go like this and hit it over the center field, straightaway center field wall at Fenway Park. That's how good Brooks Koepka is, and that's how strong Brooks Koepka is. Okay. People say I'm the golf Linda Evangelista. That's kind of accurate. I'm prone to modeling things on islands, wearing thongs, but I don't get out of bed for tournaments that pay less than $200K a day in Middle America. That's right. It's all about the illest, most baddest, biggest tournaments for me. I get up for the majors. Everything else is just practice. But it wasn't always that way. No, no, no. I moved up the pro golf ladder really hungry for the challenge tour. I wasn't like my buddy Jordan Spieth. I didn't go to the big show right away. I had to fight for it. I was overshadowed. I was overlooked, but I was never overpowered. No, I always had the big shots. I was racking up W's from this way to Sunday, crushed it in Catalonia, pummeled it in Padova, came out aces in Aviemore, and amazed at Miyazaki. Konnichiwa, Japan Tour, that was a great experience. Now enough prologue, let's cut to some modern jazz. This brash PGA Championship champ still needs to prove myself each and every day. It's not given to me. Pundits still talk smack, and despite all the wins, I'm still a victim. A victim of what, you ask? A victim of serial birth name butchery. They call me Bruce. They call me Cupcake. For real, they've told me that. That's not my name. That's not my name. Tiger Woods has called me Brooksy. You know, Tiger, I'm still not going to play a practice round with you, and I can get edge, I can get into your head too. But Fox's Joe Buck gets the snafu cake. He called my model main squeeze Jenna. He called her Becky. That's not her name. That's not her name. That's my ex-girlfriend's name. And that's a true Brooks Koepka story. Okay, thank you. Part 2. The question I get asked the most when people find out that I'm a professional golf writer is this. And this is appropriate because we're at a brewery. They ask me, Mike, you know, I know that beer is an elixir in golf, that it improves your performance, especially one beer when you're playing golf for most golfers. But how much beer should I drink? Should I drink 1 beer? Should I drink 2 beers? 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 8? They don't even know. So I say, thank you, Chad. Their name is usually Chad because I go to a lot of frat parties with guys named Chad. And the answer there is that it really depends on 3 main factors. 1, how much do you weigh? 2, what is your alcohol tolerance level? And 3, and this is most important, how good a golfer are you? Because if you're a 10 handicapper under, you shouldn't be drinking beer on the course. But 95% of golfers should be. And the question is, when do you drink that first beer? You drink that first beer the first time the beverage cart rolls around, because it's going to loosen up your swing, it's going to make you feel better, and you're going to get rid of that stage fright that a lot of golfers have. A lot of golfers, they kind of get tense when they're playing golf on a real course. On the driving range, they're fine, but they get up to a course and they tense up, they're stiff. That one beer is really going to help. And then golf is like a 5-hour game. You're definitely going to want a beer on the back nine for sure to kind of recalibrate your swing, especially after a blow-up hole. So you get an 8 on like a par 4. That's when you want to down drink number 2. Now, a service I offer is on-course beer per round evaluation. I charge $150 an hour for this service, and I go around with you and I tell you how many beers you should have, because some people it's more. Again, depending on the variety of factors. Golf Digest has actually done investigative journalism on what happens between beer 4 and 8. They did this actually pretty recently, and what they found was kind of eye-opening. You would assume that your game gets worse by the time you get over that 4 beer level, but for average golfers, that's not the case. In fact, their approach shots and putting stayed the same from beer 4 to beer number 8. The only thing that got worse was driving off the tee. Accuracy went out the window once you've had that 4th beer and you started going toward 8. They were just going far left, far right. Nobody was keeping it on the fairway. So the lesson here is drink in moderation. That brings me to the second most often asked question that people ask me when they find out that I'm a golf writer. And that's, Mike, I understand that beer is an elixir and it helps your performance and all that, but what kind of beer should I be drinking? Should I be drinking a lager? Should I be drinking a sour? Should I be drinking a pilsner? Should I be drinking a beer with a hoppy aroma? What's the kind of beer that's going to work the most? And that is a good question, because you don't want to be drinking imperial stouts or heavy beers or high gravity beers with like 10% alcohol. That's not the type of beer you want to drink when you play golf. Think about it like fishing. The type of beer you want to drink when you fish or you golf is a light beer, 4% or under, something like that. Nothing with high alcohol content. As far as style, that doesn't matter as much, but something like a Corona or a craft beer of that same ilk. Now, if they don't have that, a Bud is fine. I'm not going to judge. If they have a local beer, though, it helps with your local course knowledge to drink a local beer. The third question I get asked the most when people find out I'm a golf writer at parties, and this is usually asked by a woman named Sheila. Mike, I understand that golf is that beer is a golf performance enhancer, but what about wine? And that's a good question. In the old days, even up till this year, you couldn't drink wine while playing golf because they didn't have a vessel for it. But now canned wine is very in. But I still don't know. It's a new thing. So I don't know if it's rosé, I don't know if it's Chardonnay or Pinot Grigio. I'm not sure what's going to be the performance enhancer or how much you're going to drink. But I'd like to take that journey with you and figure it out. I got a cooler on my cart, and we can drink the wine together. If you want to do that, see me after the show, and I'll arrange a round. Okay, now on to the serious stuff. The actual state of the union of golf in the year 2019. I'm going to have to refer to my notes because there's a lot of numbers that just came out and they're big and impressive. And before I do that, at this juncture, I'd like to give a shout out. Right now in Columbia, there is the City of Columbia Men's Golf Championship is going on at Northwoods. If you want to see some top quality golf, we've got some fresh out of college kids that are really good. And we also have a guy who just competed in the senior US Open, and he's in the field there too. It goes through Saturday. I know it's really hot, but go over there for like 20 minutes and you'll see some really quality golf. Okay, so golf is always evolving and refreshing, but no more has that happened than in the last year. Golf has completely changed the game. If a player from just 2 years ago, from 2017, stepped into a hot tub time machine and went to 2019, and they were to play in a tournament, they'd be in for quite some shock and quite some awe. And there's a reason for this. So let's do this. So say the guy goes into the hot tub time machine, he turns up the bath jets to 70 miles an hour. You don't need a DeLorean, a hot tub time machine will do. And he gets there. He gets to 2019. He's on a golf course. He tees off. He hits the ball into the water. So he's going to do a drop, okay? And so he goes, he's in a tournament, keep in mind, it goes like this, plunk. Rules official comes over, hey man, what are you doing? You can't do that. That's a one-stroke penalty. The guy's from 2017. He's only time jumped 2 years. It's like, what? I didn't know that. And the rules official's like, yeah, this is how you drop now in 2019. Like this, from the knee. So that's one big change, but that's not it. Then when he gets to the green, he sees his playing partner, and his playing partner leaves the pin in. And he's like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm leaving the pin in. Hits it, hits the pin, dunks into the hole. Well, again, that didn't happen in 2017, so he's just like, I can't believe golf has changed this much. Another thing, the guy he's playing with is wearing a t-shirt because you don't have to wear colored shirts anymore. So there's all these changes going on. He goes back to the clubhouse. He's watching a review of what happened in the year. He's sitting on his bar stool and he sees that Tiger Woods won the Masters. He falls right off his chair and faints because in 2017, that was an impossible thing to possibly happen. Back then, this is after all the surgeries, Tiger was done. There was no way he was going to win again. So every year, the NGF trots out a census measuring golf participation, and this is crucial, guys. For the last 14 years, golf participation has been treading water. It's kind of been stagnant or falling, but in the year, 2019 measures last year because we haven't had a full calendar year elapsed, but in the last year, golf participation has gone up by 400,000 to 24.2 million. We've gone up to 24.2 million golfers now. That's a big jump. That's an increase of 400,000 golfers from the prior year. That, my friends, is massive because it hadn't been going up. It's been stagnating, it's been treading water. And now you have a jump in the number of golfers. Meanwhile, participation in the game's fastest growing segment, driving ranges, which is mainly, we're talking about Top Golf, and we're talking about simulators too, and Drive Shack and other competitors of Top Golf, that has spiked 10% year over year to 23 million. So 23 million people experience golf purely on driving ranges and in simulators. So when you pool on-course and off-course golfers, the combined number of golfers in America leaped to 33.5 million, an all-time high. 33.5 million people are playing golf in some manner, either on-course or off-course. That's a 4% spike in the prior year. Let's talk about the fresh blood, the youngsters coming into the game. Golf is like a vampire. Every year, there's more people that die than join into the game. So the good news on that front is that newbies are taking up the game at historic highs. 2.6 million golfers picked up a club for the first time in 2018. What demographic is fueling this? It's 65 plus, golf's wellspring. 65 plus is the biggest area for new golfers joining the game and playing the game for the first time. It's not youngsters. It's not 20-year-olds, 65 plus. Now, that population shot up from 3.6 million in 2017 to 4.2 million in 2018. Meanwhile, the 18 to 34 cohort held steady with 6.1 million players, which is good. That's the cohort that's the most influential, the 18 to 34 cohort. Of those, they represent 25% of traditional golfers and 44% of off-course golfers. So they're fueling the boom in Topgolf and Drive Shack. Topgolf is opening up in Augusta, Georgia now. So there's going to be like 6 in the immediate area. We're being encircled by them. And we have a Topgolf Swing Suites here on Main Street, which is a simulator. Now, it's not all roses and Ferraris for golf, okay? I don't want to paint too great a picture. The number of junior golfers did decline. There's now 2.5 million kids playing the game of golf. So that's down. But the silver lining on that statistic is, if you go back to 2000, 15% of those kids playing golf were girls. Now it's 33% and climbing. So there's been a lot more gender inclusiveness in golf. So you want to know why? Why are more girls playing the game? A lot of it is a parental push to get daughters into the game because for a long time, especially back in 2000, it was the easiest way to get a free ride to college because the player pool is much smaller than the men, and what you have to shoot to gain a college scholarship is much more attainable. So it was doable. You could shoot 80 and get a college golf scholarship. Now, as the number of women players have gone up, it's now a lot harder for a girl to make it in college golf, but still, it's easier than it is for the men, and it's still possible. They just have to be a lot better than they were before. Okay, on to the headline bad news, and this is something that you've probably heard locally. So the number of rounds played on green grass courses has declined by 5% year over year, and the reason for that is because of course closures, obviously. So we had 200 golf courses close up shop last year. Cricket Tree in Columbia is one of those, and we'll probably have another 2 because we don't have the population to support that many golf courses. There was a big build out in the 90s and 2000s, and we're right sizing right now to kind of fit that 5% decline. Also though, last year, according to NOAA, which is the, anybody know what NOAA is? National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association, we had the wettest year since 1895 last year, and that kind of accounted for a drop in rounds played too. So I think you're going to see that average tick up. Okay, here's the bottom line though, and here's my conclusion. Golf is in a good place because you've got to measure golf by engagement. You cannot measure golf anymore by green grass rounds played at golf courses because that's not how a ton of people are experiencing the game. People are experiencing the game as a night out on a driving range, playing with their friends for an hour or at a simulator. That is golf. That's a big deal. That's how golf is in a lot of Asia. That's how they experience golf too. And North America is kind of becoming the same way. Also, I think we've got a right-sized number of golf courses now, and I think in about 5 years, you're going to see that number of declining golf courses and number of golf courses built reach equilibrium. So I'm pretty bullish on the future of golf, and I think that we will have the participation rate go up to 50 million in 10 years. That's right, 50 million golfers in 10 years. That is my prediction. You're hearing it first here. It's been Mike Deutsch with Slinging Birdies. I'm going to open the floor up to any questions about golf equipment, golfers, anything you want. Anybody have a golf question, raise your hand. We have a golf question in the front row.
Who do you think is going to win the British Open this week?
Okay, the British Open. He wants to know who's going to win the British Open. I do prognostication professionally, so usually I charge for this service. But if you want to know who's going to win the British Open, the answer is Brooks Koepka will win the British Open. And in doing so, become one of the greatest golfers of all time. Okay, any more questions? We have a question. Can you facilitate?
What percentage of golfers are Republican?
Okay, that is a good question. She wanted to know what percentage of golfers are Republican. Now, since we have 24.2 million golfers in America, it's pretty even split. It's about 50-50 among recreational. But if you're going to talk about professional golfers, then it's about 65% Republican, 35% Democrat on the professional level. But on the recreational level, it's a fairly even split. So, Kings of Golf Comedy Act is going to be going to a bunch of other locations. I'm headlining, of course. I don't know who's opening. I think Mark Crossfield may be opening for me on a few of the dates. And then we got, what's his name, Rick Shields. Yeah, he's kind of come in for a couple days. And that's it. That's our show. Hope you enjoyed it. That's it. That's really the end. Like, there's no point. I don't know, are you still watching now? Because it's been a long time. If you're still watching now, you're pretty dedicated, and I applaud that. I applaud your dedication. But this is the end of the movie, so, I mean, wait till my sequel. Wait till the sequel. Who's this?